Hey there, gang! It's Jan Anderson, voice actor in Salem, Oregon, and today I'm coming to you to, I thought maybe, I don't know, some of you might be interested to hear about how I got started in acting and how I made the leap from a career firmly rooted in the construction industry into acting when I was in my mid-40s, and how I made it work. Oh my God! Stick around and I'll try to give you the condensed version, okay? Okay, here we go. So, I'm gonna try to breeze through a lot of this backstory stuff and get to the meat of the story here, or the point of this whole video, and that is about changing careers into something creative when you're doing something very different. When you get into when you're middle-aged. Oh my God, who does such a thing? Anyway, so I caught the acting bug when I was pretty little. I was going to summer school. My mom and father were divorced, which meant that during the summer months, my mother, who worked, had to sent my brother and I to summer school just to get us out of the house for a little while every day. So I got roped into joining up the drama department. They were going to put on a play. I was little. I was probably in first grade. And the production was The Wizard of Oz. And since I was such a little kid, I got cast as Munchkin, one of the Lollipop Guild. And at first I was, I'm going to be on stage in front of people and all this stuff. Anyway, long story short, I got up there. We represent the Lollipop Guild. We did the song and the dance and the whole thing, and I was transfixed. The audience reaction just made me go, this is actually really cool. So anyway, so that was my first taste. It ended up being a very positive experience. I loved it. Okay. Shortly after that, further into elementary school, around the third grade, my dad gave me my first cassette player recorder with a little external mic. So that fascinated me through high school. I was interviewing people, my family members. I was getting people to do stupid fake radio shows, and we put on haunted mansions where we'd record sound effects and bounce from tape recorder to tape recorder. I mean, we were already kind of doing things like that, which was, I don't know, was that kind of advanced for little kids? Maybe. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. And so doing that, but then by the time middle school, a couple little plays, in grammar school. By middle school, and the 7th and 8th grade, I started playing guitar. I wanted to be a little rocker, and but I was still involved with the drama department. I had a couple of semesters in drama, I think in 8th grade, maybe. I think so, and loved it. Big influence on me. I love performing arts. By the time high school came around, I was focusing more on music. I was getting involved with my friends, forming our first rock bands and stuff like that, playing, parties and things like that in high school. I was still involved in the drama department, not so much on stage, though, in high school. I got into stagecraft, set design and construction, lighting design, sound design, and I would run the lights and sound from the booth up and back of the auditorium for the plays. Loved that. I was in the orchestra for a high school production of Grease. I was the guitarist for that. That was a blast. And then in my 20s, I kind of got away from dramatic arts and focused solely, late teens and 20s, mid 20s, I guess. It was all about the rock and roll. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But not necessarily in that order. Okay? I'm sorry, I use that line a lot. You may have heard me say that before. But it was true. Anyway, Then by the time it didn't look like the music career was going to pan out, I made a hard turn and just started, I was focused on working. I was already working part-time and full-time in hotel industry. That's a little bit of an acting experience right there, dealing with guests and front desk management and things like that. So I did that. I went in hardcore with that, working in San Francisco, and until I just kind of burned out and I needed to do something completely different. So I ended up finding my way into the plumbing trade, and then that just carried on. I worked as an apprentice plumber, a journeyman. Finally, I got my contractor's license. And during none of this was I really doing any music or acting at all until I had a big switch in my life. Just before my 40th birthday, I got sober. I quit drinking and drugging. And after that, for a couple years, after I got kind of used to living sober, which was a huge change in my life, I still had my plumbing business. It was still going great. I was talking to a carpenter who was friends with a small community theater group, and he was trying to get out of being in a production, and he was interested if maybe he could swindle me into coming in and taking his place. I went and saw the show. I went and saw the production. Tiny little theater, wonderful heart of this troupe. I met the director, a wonderful woman. Anyway, yes, I did it. I took the part. It wasn't a huge part, but it was singing and it was acting, and I was back into his makeup and the whole thing. I loved it. And so that started a run with that theater troupe, right back into it. Oh, man. Anyway, concurrently with this, on another job site, another construction company, I was talking to a different carpenter who was telling me about this thing he did on the side called Voiceover. I was like, what's that? Well, he starts describing it to me, and it was like my brain exploded. I had been fascinated with voiceover ever since I was a little kid because I was always mimicking things on TV, going to theme parks and listening to all the voices around me. Cartoons, oh my God, Warner Brothers and Disney. That was and all the Christmas shows that we all grew up with on TV. All those voices, all those actors just blew my mind, and I never realized that it was. For whatever reason, I never realized that that was a job, that there were people that specialized in that. And it was kind of a subset of acting, of the, performing arts. So I was, well, where do I find out more? So he told me where he was doing his training. I called up, I scheduled my first class. Oh man, did that light a fire in me. It was like a light bulb went off and I saw my future. Not that plumbing was bad, it really wasn't. But I knew that my body was not going to allow me to work a lot more years. And I needed to work a lot more years. My knees, my back, it can be rough on your body. So I started training once. I was going to classes once or 2 times a week, and loving every moment in the studio. We recorded my demos, and then I started shopping them. And anyway, all this happened before I turned 50. I was determined to get my next career going before I turned 50, and I did. I started, let's see, I started my voice acting in earnest when I was, I think, 46, maybe even a year earlier than that. But anyway, I started my career at the age of 49. A year before I turned 49, I started my business. Now, that's not to say that I gave up plumbing. I could not do that. I needed to make a living. And, acting is a tough gig. Even for very well-seasoned people. So I was starting from scratch. So yeah, I was auditioning a lot. I was marketing a ton. And whenever I wasn't working my plumbing job, running that business, I was focused on getting the voiceover business up and running. And fortunately, 12, 13 years later, I'm still going strong. And so that's kind of where I came into acting and how it kind of became important, less important during a time of my life, then very much more important, and became, a big part of my identity, kind of. I know well, yeah, it is. I was going to say that sounds kind of weird. People shouldn't identify with their job like that, but I don't know. It's different for actors, I think. Anyway, think of that as you may. But the fact is that I went from hotel management into construction by the time well before I was 30 years old, up through into my 40s, rediscovering acting, getting into voiceover, making the decision that that was going to be it, and dedicating myself because I was so passionate about it. It can be done. The point is, my story is my own. What your story is, I don't know. But the point is, if you have the drive and the focus and the ambition, you can make it happen. So don't think you're aging out. Even if you're beyond your 40s, into your 50s and 60s. Hey, if you want to do it, if you've got the drive and you know that it's going to take time, but your passion for the craft is supersedes what anybody else thinks and feels, and this is going to be your next thing, then go for it. At least take the steps to learn as much as you can before you start investing a lot of money on training, coaching, equipment, that kind of thing. That's really it. I just wanted to give you a little encouragement. If you're passionate about this and you're middle-aged or beyond, it doesn't matter. There's only one of you, and the world has not yet been introduced to you and your voice until it is. So you got this, buddy. Or whatever else. For those who were astute in my audience, I did a live stream today, and you might notice that I'm wearing the same t-shirt. Well, I went and worked out in the yard for a little while. I decided I wanted to make this video, but I couldn't be bothered to change my t-shirt. I can be very focused and very determined to do some things in life, but change a t-shirt to make another video? I guess not. That's too much to ask. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you found this little story valuable. Please feel free to comment and ask questions down below in the comment section. Like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I guess that's it for now. All right? Well, I hope you're well, and until next time, take care.